Was Barron Trump speaking from conviction, or was he simply playing a role he never chose? The Georgetown University debate hall buzzed with an electric tension that no one had quite expected. Students, professors, and journalists filled every seat, their eyes fixed on the two figures seated at the front. Barron Trump, the 18-year-old freshman known as much for his famous surname as for his emerging political presence, and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a fierce advocate from Texas whose reputation for cutting through political theatrics preceded her. The moderator, Dr. Sarah Martinez, called the room to order and introduced the topic of the evening: youth engagement in American politics. Barron rose from his chair, adjusting his crisp navy blazer, and looked out over the crowd with a calm that belied the storm about to unfold. He spoke clearly, deliberately. "I appreciate the opportunity to discuss how young Americans can be more engaged in politics," Barron said, his voice steady. "But before we talk about engagement, we need to be honest about leadership." A hush fell over the room. "Congresswoman Crockett," Barron continued, "I respect your passion, but your record shows that you prioritize theatrics over tangible results. Too often, political figures perform for cameras rather than serve the people. My generation deserves leadership rooted in substance, not spectacle." Gasps rippled through the audience. Phones appeared, recording every word. Jasmine Crockett met his gaze without hesitation. She rose, her posture strong, her voice measured but firm. "Barron," Crockett replied, "you accuse me of performance, yet you stand before us carrying a legacy built on spectacle and division. Before lecturing me about youth engagement, perhaps you should reflect on what your family's political brand has truly accomplished." Barron's jaw tightened, but his voice did not waver. "My family has challenged the establishment, revitalized industries, and defended our nation's sovereignty," Barron said. "We do not hide behind empty slogans or baseless claims." "Is that so?" Crockett answered sharply. "What about inciting an insurrection? What about spreading falsehoods that threaten the very Constitution you claim to uphold?" The air thickened with tension as Barron stood, towering over the table. His words came with quiet intensity. "You may gain applause with your accusations," Barron said, "but you represent division, not unity. Radicalism, not democracy. Your brand of politics is a threat to our country's future." The word "unfit" echoed like a gavel slam. For a moment, silence gripped the room. Then Crockett, with a calmness that defied the charged atmosphere, pulled out her phone. "Since we're discussing fitness for office," she said softly, "I believe this audience deserves to hear something you said when you thought no one important was listening." Barron's expression faltered, and his voice softened. "What are you doing?" Barron asked. "This is a recording from a conversation you had with a student journalist 3 weeks ago," Crockett explained. "It reveals what you truly believe beneath your public performance." She pressed play. The room filled with Barron's voice admitting, "I don't actually believe half the things I say in debates. It's all about positioning. Politics today is theater." Whispers erupted. "And the election fraud claims?" the journalist asked. "Disaster," Barron confessed. "But the base would crucify me if I said that publicly. So I play the part." As the recording ended, Barron looked drained, defeated by his own confession. Crockett stood tall, the truth her strongest weapon. "You called me unfit," Crockett said, voice rising. "But this recording proves you don't believe your own attacks. You admit my policies have merit. Your rhetoric is deception designed to manipulate." Applause erupted throughout the hall. "So, who is really unfit?" Crockett asked. "The leader who speaks honestly, or the student who admits to playing a role for political gain?" Barron tried to respond, but no words came. "This is the problem with politics today," Crockett concluded, "where performance replaces service and narrative replaces truth." The crowd rose to their feet in a deafening ovation. The room remained charged with tension as Congresswoman Crockett leaned forward slightly, her gaze sharp and unwavering. She didn't flinch under the weight of Barron's accusations. Instead, she smiled faintly, a mix of confidence and challenge gleaming in her eyes. "Mr. Trump," Crockett began, her voice steady yet firm, "your family legacy is well known, and it certainly stirs strong emotions on all sides. But political leadership is not a reality show. It's a responsibility. And your admission, if that recording is genuine, suggests a troubling willingness to sacrifice truth for theatrics, she explained. Barron's jaw tightened, his expression hardening as the crowd's murmurs grew louder. His towering frame shifted in his chair, and he lifted his hands slightly as if to reclaim control. Congresswoman, I am here today not to defend every word ever spoken by my family or myself, but to assert that American politics requires strength, strategy, and yes, sometimes difficult decisions. The so-called theatrics you dismiss are often necessary tools to cut through the noise and get results. Barron responded with controlled intensity. Crockett's eyes narrowed slightly. Tools or weapons? She pressed, leaning in closer. When does the pursuit of results cross the line into deception? When do those difficult decisions become justifications for undermining democracy? A hush fell over the room. Barron's confident facade flickered briefly, but he recovered quickly, tapping his pen against the table. I am not here to be your adversary for the sake of conflict, Barron said with a measured tone, but to represent a generation that's often underestimated. I believe young people want authenticity, even if it means facing uncomfortable truths, he added. The crowd absorbed his words, the energy shifting subtly, but Crockett was unyielding. Authenticity means owning your beliefs, Mr. Trump, not scripting them for applause or political gain. Your own words reveal a man trapped between what he believes privately and what he feels compelled to perform publicly, Crockett stated, her voice resolute. Barron's gaze dropped for a moment, caught in a rare moment of vulnerability. Then he raised his head, meeting her eyes with renewed determination. Perhaps, he admitted quietly, the path to leadership isn't as clear-cut as anyone wishes to believe, but I'm learning every day that being true to oneself in this arena is the hardest act of all, Barron concluded. The room was thick with anticipation as the debate edged toward its climax. Congresswoman Crockett held the floor, the weight of her words pressing down on everyone present. Mr. Trump, she began, voice steady and unwavering, you claim to speak for your generation, yet your recorded confession reveals a profound disconnect between public posturing and private belief. That disconnect is precisely what breeds cynicism and distrust among young voters, she explained. Barron's expression tightened, the challenge evident in his eyes. He leaned forward, clasping his hands together. I won't deny that politics is often a stage, Congresswoman, Barron replied thoughtfully, but it's also a platform, a place where ideas, policies, and visions for the future can be presented, sometimes dramatically, to inspire change, he argued. But what good is inspiration built on falsehoods? Crockett countered sharply. When young people realize they've been manipulated, disillusionment sets in, and democracy suffers, she said. Barron sighed, a hint of frustration flickering across his face. I understand that, and I'm struggling with it myself. The recording you played, it's a glimpse behind the curtain. But it's not the whole story. I'm trying to reconcile who I am with who the world expects me to be, Barron confessed. Crockett softened slightly, her tone more reflective. That struggle is real, but hiding behind a crafted persona only delays the inevitable reckoning with oneself and with the public, she said. Barron nodded slowly, absorbing her words. Maybe the hardest part isn't the performance. It's finding the courage to be honest in a world that rewards spectacle, he admitted. The audience sat in thoughtful silence, the intensity of the exchange lingering in the air. Dr. Martinez, the moderator, stepped in to close the debate. Tonight's discussion has revealed not just the challenges of youth engagement in politics, but the deeper struggles within political identity and integrity, she said. As the applause began, Barron and Crockett exchanged a look, one filled with unspoken understanding and the acknowledgement of the difficult road ahead. As the crowd slowly dispersed and the lights dimmed in the Georgetown debate hall, the significance of what had just unfolded settled deeply into the minds of everyone present. This wasn't merely a clash of political views or a spectacle for social media. It was a raw, unfiltered glimpse into the complexities of modern political identity, especially for the younger generation stepping into leadership roles. Barron Trump's journey revealed the tension between public expectation and personal truth, a battle familiar to many but rarely spoken aloud. Congresswoman Crockett's unyielding challenge reminded the audience that authenticity and accountability are not optional ideals but essential pillars of democracy. In the end, the debate underscored a timeless lesson. True engagement is not about perfect performances or viral moments. It's about confronting uncomfortable truths and striving to serve with integrity. For Barron and for every young person watching, the question remains, will they choose the path of genuine leadership or the allure of hollow spectacle? The answer, as the night made clear, will shape the future of American politics. So after hearing both sides and seeing the truth behind the curtain, what kind of leader do you believe America truly needs? Let's keep the conversation going. Subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts below. Your perspective is valuable and might inspire others.